I haven't forgotten about the insanity. How everybody lost their minds last summer. Black Lives Matter, it's a black square. Craziness in this country. Joining me now, a couple smart dudes to talk about it. My friend Charles Love, he's the author of the book Race Crazy, BLM 1619 and the Progressive Racism Movement. And my friend Brandon Morse, deputy managing editor at RedState. Okay, Charles, surprise, surprise, it comes out Black Lives Matter was a gigantic scam organization that enriched the people who were found the thing and left a bunch of poor black people who aren't criminals in bad neighborhoods without any police protection, and now they're dying in droves. Do I have that about right?
I'm so shocked. It's not, someone should have written a book where they talked about how this was all a farce. No, it's no surprise. You got it about right. Everybody involved, they weren't necessarily trying to get rich, but when the money came in, what do you do when somebody just dumps $90 million in your lap? You go on a shopping spree. But even if they weren't making money, it wouldn't change the fact that they were racist, ill-informed people who made neighborhoods more violent than they were before.
Brandon, I actually want to ask you about something Charles just said, ill-informed. I was just going off about this in the segment before, that people acted so blindsided that this group wasn't some, saintly Martin Luther King nonviolent civil rights group. They had insane things on their own website, destroying the family. They're on camera multiple times. We just played it for people admitting to being communists and communist organizers. I mean, they were not quiet about the fact they were scumbags. They practically had labels on their forehead, and everyone just chose to ignore it.
Yeah, they were telling everybody, if you actually watched interviews, that they were trained Marxists. But see, that's the Black Lives Matter. They operated best when everyone else is confused. They were conflating the organization with the concept of Black Lives Mattering. And Black Lives Matter, they absolutely do. But they were trying to use that sentiment in America in order to benefit themselves, and not just themselves, but overall the Democrat Party, which is primarily who benefited from the Black Lives Matter movement. But you had a lot of people giving up money, think that they were doing something great. They were trying to help along the black community and right all these wrongs that apparently we had all committed as Americans. And they turned around and used that to buy themselves million-dollar mansions. So who'd have thunk it? These people were grifters all along.
Charles, why did it work so well on, not everyone on the right, but a big portion of the right? Either they flat out came out supporting it, or they just stayed silent on it. Trump himself wouldn't mention the name Black Lives Matter for weeks into those protests. George Bush came out, called the country racist. Mitt Romney did the same. Tim Scott couldn't wait to propose a federal police reform bill. The right seemed to jump on this narrative immediately in a bizarre way. Why?
Well, it's complex, but then it's not. I don't want to give you too much credit because, you give yourself credit when you need to. But you talk about how you have to fight this and how you can't just be mealy-mouthed and try to play both sides on it. And politicians are going to politic. I keep saying it. So they saw that even if they disagree with them, Mitt Romney is a nut job. He's separate. But even if they realize that this was bad, they're like, well, political capital says that I have to nuance this instead of just coming out. Brandon made a good point saying that people try to separate the organization. I believe in the movement. I just disagree with the organization. But Black Lives Matter. Some adult in the room, some politician, your Tim Scott, your Mitt Romney should have said, well, if I buy into just the statement of Black Lives Matter, aren't I giving in to the fact that this supposed massive number of people who don't think Black Lives Matter, which is not true? Why not just come out and say it's silly? Because no one's saying Black lives don't matter, except for the radicals who are trying to use it as a political cudgel. But they couldn't do it. They were afraid. They're soft. Look, I don't know why. And this part of the predicament we got in is because there was no one out there strong enough to stand up for what was right. They had to do it and say, well, don't burn things down, but Black lives do matter.
Don't miss Jesse Kelly Breaks History, The Forgotten Genocide, the first episode of a new series available now exclusively for First TV supporters. Visit the First TV app or thefirsttv.com to subscribe and start watching today.